idea how to make Chuck E. Cheese's better than ever.
Happy birthday! When my mom asked me where to go for my birthday, I said Chuck E. Cheese's.
There was a time when the phrase, "where a kid can be a kid," instantly brought to mind the smell of fresh pizza, the jingle of arcade tokens, and the goofy grin of an animatronic mouse named Chuck E. Cheese. In the 1980s and 90s, Chuck E. Cheese wasn't just a restaurant, it was an experience. Kids would beg to go there for birthdays, and parents would oblige, knowing they were making memories. In its golden era, Chuck E. Cheese grew into a beloved American icon. By the late 90s, the chain had expanded to hundreds of locations, 300 stores by the year 2000, and was famous for its arcade games, prize tokens, and cheesy pizza, as well as the signature animatronic band shows. The concept was the brainchild of Nolan Bushnell of Atari fame, who in 1977 opened the first Chuck E. Cheese's Pizza Time Theater in San Jose, California. Bushnell's vision was simple yet revolutionary. Combine a family pizza parlor with an arcade and a Disney-inspired animatronic theater show, and it worked. Through the 80s, the idea of eatertainment caught on like wildfire. Rival chain Showbiz Pizza launched its own animatronic band.
I bet that pizza tastes good.
You've never seen a place like Showbiz Pizza Place will serve you.
Sparking an arms race of singing robots. Eventually, a corporate merger in 1984 brought the two under one roof. Chuck E. Cheese absorbed Showbiz, phasing out the rival gorilla and bear characters, and the Star Rodents Munch's make-believe band took center stage for the next 30 years. At its peak, Chuck E. Cheese embodied childhood joy. Generations of kids remember the thrill of watching those curtains dramatically swing open and seeing the animatronic band spring to life, performing corny songs and skits, sometimes entertaining, or even a little terrifying in their clunky charm. Birthday parties were legendary, the blackout before the show, the giant ticket blaster machines, the ball pits to jump in, and those sky tube tunnels to crawl through. It truly was the place to go for a birthday party, and it was always busy, as one nostalgic fan recalled. For a kid in the 90s, a Chuck E. Cheese party was basically the holy grail. But as Chuck E. and his animatronic pals jammed on stage, storm clouds were gathering overhead. The late 1990s and early 2000s brought change. Home console gaming exploded, meaning kids could get their arcade fix without leaving home. Competitors popped up, from big kid arcades like Dave & Buster's. Chuck E. Cheese's once cutting-edge formula was aging, and the company was starting to struggle with declining revenue. In 2014, the chain's parent company was sold to a private equity firm, Apollo Global, for $1.3 billion, saddling Chuck E. Cheese with hefty debt and new corporate leadership laser-focused on modernization and cost-cutting. At the same time, the brand itself was desperately trying to reinvent its image. In 2012, Chuck E.'s look was changed from a chunky rat in a bowler hat to a slimmer skateboard rocker mouse, a move that flopped at boosting sales. By 2017, management decided more drastic updates were needed to keep up with the times. Chuck E. Cheese faced a harsh reality. Kids' tastes in entertainment were changing radically. CEO Tom Leverton would later admit, kids stopped watching the animatronic shows. With improvements in tech, with screens, and the expectations of kids today, the animatronics aren't the main draw anymore. To a generation raised on iPads and PlayStations, a clacking robot band singing disco tunes on repeat just didn't hold the magic it once did. Many kids found the animatronics silly or terrifying, Leverton noted. A far cry from the wide-eyed wonder of the past. Ironically, a horror video game franchise about haunted animatronics was incredibly popular, proving the robots still captured young imaginations, just in a nightmarish way, but that's another story. Behind the scenes, the company's finances were on thin ice. The Apollo buyout had taken the company private, but ladened it with nearly $1 billion in new debt. Longtime fans noticed something was off. They saw beloved aspects of the classic Chuck E. Cheese experience disappearing one by one, seemingly to save a buck. As one passionate Reddit fan ranted, the company removed everything that made the place special. They stopped doing the lights, removed the curtains, got rid of the best era of CEC history. They put a dance floor in favor of a stage, removed tickets, tokens, animatronics. They've turned it into Dave & Buster's. They had something special and they destroyed it. The physical tickets and tokens were replaced by e-tickets and swipe cards. More efficient, sure, but far less tangible fun for kids. Those giant tubular indoor playgrounds and ball pits, phased out for safety and maintenance reasons, long gone. Then, in 2020, disaster struck that would push Chuck E. Cheese to the brink, the pandemic. Practically overnight, the chain's 600-plus locations were forced to close as stay-at-home orders took effect. The timing could not have been worse. Chuck E. Cheese had just brought in a new CEO, David McKillips, a former theme park exec, in January 2020 to try to turn things around. But within weeks, every restaurant and arcade was a ghost town. The business, already weakened by years of declining foot traffic and heavy debt, couldn't survive months of zero revenue. By June 2020, CEC Entertainment, Chuck E. Cheese's parent company, filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection, citing the financial strain from the pandemic as the final straw. In the filing, they reported nearly $2 billion in debt against roughly $1.7 billion in assets, a staggering hole that no amount of prize ticket sales could fill. In an effort to stay afloat during the pandemic, Chuck E. Cheese tried some creative and kind of sad measures, including offering food delivery under a pseudonym, Pasquale's Pizza and Wings, named after their animatronic chef character, to get people to unknowingly order their pizza from ghost kitchens. But it wasn't enough. By the summer of 2020, the iconic mouse was on the ropes. The Chapter 11 process will allow us to strengthen our financial structure and get back to delivering memories, entertainment, and pizzas for another 40 years, the new CEO McKillips optimistically said at the time. The company did manage to limp out of bankruptcy by late 2020 after restructuring. Debt holders like Monarch Capital took ownership, and remarkably, most Chuck E. Cheese locations eventually reopened as restrictions eased. But the writing was on the wall. The Chuck E. Cheese that reopened was not going to be the same Chuck E. Cheese we remembered. In 2019, a viral YouTube conspiracy theory by Shane Dawson, viewed nearly 8 million times, claimed Chuck E. Cheese recycled uneaten pizza slices, cobbling together leftovers from old customers and serving them as new pizzas. The theory showed oddly mismatched pizzas with uneven slice sizes, and it caught fire online. Cheese vehemently denied the accusation as unequivocally false, assuring the public that their pizzas are always made to order with fresh dough. The weird shapes are just an inconsistent crust, they said. The damage was largely contained, but it was another hit to the brand's image at a time it could ill afford it. In the court of public opinion, Chuck E. Cheese was becoming a bit of a joke, or worse, irrelevant. Even as bankruptcy proceedings were underway, Chuck E. Cheese's management had a clear strategy for how to revive the chain, modernize everything. Out with the old animatronic bands and dim party rooms, in with open floor plans, flashy tech, and interactive experiences. The company had already been piloting a major makeover known internally as the 2.0 remodel. The changes were drastic and controversial for fans. Those classic wall murals and stage setups were torn down and literally destroyed, replaced by neon-accented dance floors and huge video screens. Instead of kids gathering around a band of robo-animals, the new concept envisions kids jumping around on a light-up dance floor, while a costumed human Chuck E. Cheese mascot dances with them under a giant digital screen that plays music videos. In essence, the animatronic show was being swapped for a high-tech dance party. This shift first rolled out in a handful of test locations. In 2017, 3 stores in San Antonio were completely remodeled to ditch the robots and unveil the new look, with more test sites in Kansas City that fall. The company's spokespersons touted that the changes were based on extensive research into what today's kids and millennial parents want. We believe that the staying power of Chuck E. Cheese is its ability to change with the times. The animatronics, sadly, did not fit into this vision. By 2017, the company openly announced it would begin retiring its animatronic bands for good. In the end, the legacy of Chuck E. Cheese lives on partly in those few legacy locations and wholly in the hearts of nostalgic fans. The animatronic band has taken its final bow on almost every stage, replaced by the glow of LED screens and the thump of bass-heavy kids' music. The curtain has closed on a unique chapter of pop culture, one filled with whirring robots, greasy pizza, skee-ball tickets, and the laughter of countless childhood birthdays. And while the new Chuck E. Cheese marches on into the future, many of us will forever remember the old one fondly, as a quirky, magical place from a bygone time. Chuck E. Cheese's animatronics may have been creepy and outdated, but they were ours. And as we say goodbye to them, we're really saying goodbye to a piece of our own childhoods, a reminder that even a singing, pizza-loving rat isn't immune to the passage of time.